Alright, time for another DraftPhysics.com video presentation. Yes, one freaking comment. I'm going to do a video about one comment. Because it's just, you just make a video, you explain certain things, and it's like they don't watch the video, they don't pay any attention. It's like, well, why did I bother? Why bother making the comment? Why say anything in a video if they're not going to pay any attention? So anyway, the White Henry. I think this is one of the guys I just unblocked for no good reason. Anyway, a one mass with 100 velocity has 100 momentum. So that doesn't make any sense at all. That would be a zero mass object then. Okay, it can't. You have to say like 10 velocity and 100 momentum, meaning it weighs 10 or something, before it hits a 3 mass. So a 0 mass hits a 3 mass. See, it doesn't make any sense. Right from the first sentence, you're already in big trouble. After the first, you could say 100% of the velocity. Okay, then that would work. And has 100 momentum. We're just giving it an arbitrary number just to make it easy. All right. After the first collision, the one mass has a velocity of minus 50. Says u. Okay, it's going left 50. Momentums. So you said a velocity of minus 50. It's the momentum that's 50, not the velocity that's minus 50. But whatever. And the 3 mass has a velocity of 50. It's so broken because you start with this 100 thing and you don't leave any room for the masses to actually weigh something. So anyway, so let's just pretend, okay, whatever. That means the one mass has a momentum of minus 50. So again, the velocity and the momentum can't be the same. All right, and the 3 mass has a momentum of 150. Yes, we've already been over this. I drew it on the damn board. For fuck's sake. And I pointed out over and over again the part you have to account for. You can't get away with this. I have to do this again? I just don't get it. What is so complicated? I'm not saying anything that is in any way, I think, unusual in physics. I don't think there's a single example I have ever seen where it comes close to being an issue. Okay, you cannot possibly, in a Newton's cradle, ever use the vector math. It doesn't work. If I send something with a 50 momentum into something with a 50 momentum, it doesn't matter what size they are, it doesn't matter anything. It just says clearly they're going to come in contact, and unlike cars, they're not going to deform. They're not going to bend, and pieces aren't going to fly off. So the energy can't be absorbed. They're not clay. They don't stop moving. All the energy has to come back out. All of it. All this plus this. Okay, this plus this has to come back. There's no such thing as a minus. This isn't a minus 50 here, and this is a plus 50 here, and then they come together and they're 0. That doesn't happen. There is no minus direction here. Neither one of these is a minus direction. You can't play your scalar games with a Newton's cradle. It doesn't work. There's no physical example. So until you show me somebody who has miraculously created this mechanism where look, I even pointed out the example, the ludicrous example. I would take 49 here, right? So this is 49 coming in here and 50 coming in here. You can't minus those two and say they come together and only one little tiny momentum comes out. Just one little tiny momentum. That doesn't happen, okay? 99 has to come out. So you can't pretend you can do this. Okay, 150 and 50 equals 100. It can't happen with a Newton's cradle. It doesn't happen. There's no example of it happening. It's not a fact. It's not real. It's not possible. It's not in the realm of a reasonable conversation. So why are you keep insisting it happens when you can't, there's no possibility you're going to show it happening, because it's ludicrous, frankly. It can't happen. What don't you understand about your obligation? You're saying something that I know is impossible happens. Something I know Newton's cradles can't do. They can't make energy disappear. They can't make momentum disappear. They have to conserve it. All of it. The net momentum. No scalar addition applies. You cannot subtract the energy of one object from the other object. Newton's cradles don't do it. All of this typing is useless until you demonstrate the possibility of what you're saying took place. All right. The sum of the momenta is 100, the same as before. Momentum has been conserved. In your fantasy, okay, not in reality. 50 plus 150 is 200. It has to go with 200 out. It can't go with 100 out, because it just doesn't happen. There's no such thing as negative momentum in a Newton's cradle. After the second collision, the mass has a velocity of 100 and a mass 3 has a velocity of 0. Yeah, you just said it. You're drawing a conclusion and you're doing the pre-sentence to the conclusion. So that doesn't make much sense. All the momentum in the one mass, the total momentum is 100. And again, the momentum has been conserved, so it's absolute nonsense. It clearly wasn't conserved when you had 150 going forward. But again, the argument, what don't you understand? There is no example of a Newton's cradle doing subtraction math. That this motion subtracts from this motion. No example exists. All the momentum in the one mass. The total momentum is 100 again. Okay. This is all logically consistent, not with evidence. Okay, not with any experiment ever conducted is it consistent. So if you actually have 150 coming down and 50 coming down, no experiment in the history of Newton's cradles produces 100 out. It doesn't happen. Okay, once you accept that velocity is a vector quantity, why would I accept it? There's no evidence, especially in the Newton's cradle, that that is true. I say there's no evidence that it's ever true, but it's clearly not true in a Newton's cradle. So if you don't even understand the exemption, you don't have a single piece of experimental evidence you can show of elastic steel objects colliding with each other and not deforming, reflecting. Okay, it's not like a bullet, a lead bullet hitting another lead bullet where the two bullets melt into each other. Not the same experiment. It has to be solid object against solid object, no deformation. In that case, you have to conserve the momentum. You have to see it conserved in the motion of the objects, because it doesn't get used to make heat, and it doesn't get used to make things move, deform, misshape. That's your obligation. So again, I have no obligation to accept nonsense that you have no evidence for. Zero evidence. Okay. And so momentum is also a vector quantity, says you. He just said the same thing twice. Once you accept that velocity is a vector quantity, which it isn't, and so momentum is also a vector quantity, which it isn't. I mean, why isn't velocity, when it's kinetic energy, a vector quantity? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. You're not even making any sense. All right, being just a vector quantity scaled by the scalar mass. What the hell is that? Being just a vector velocity scaled by the scalar mass. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all. What is that even saying? The mass scales something? The mass does something to the velocity? I don't know. And so the total momentum, which is what is conserved, is all the leftwards momentum minus all the rightwards momentum. Says you. Again, you're saying something that just isn't true. I'm sorry. You can't show me a Newton's cradle doing vector math. You can't show it. happening. All right. In one-dimensional case. That's not to say that the objects moving left are canceled out by the objects moving right. Well, if you're subtracting them, then they're canceling out, frankly. The momentum is disappearing. It's poofing away. You're not accounting for it. It doesn't go into deformation. It doesn't go into heat. Where did it go? All right. That's the recoiling gun will undo the damage of the gunshot wound. So you still haven't even explained the gun. The magical, you say it's 1,000, 2,000 times the energy is coming out of the bullet, and the gun only has 1/1000th, 1/2000th of the energy, the momentum. Well, you're saying you're conceding the momentums are the same. You're saying the energies are different. Clearly they're not. You're just saying so. You never proved it so. You never did 1,000 or 2,000 times the work using the bullet. All right, are any other objections you might raise? It's not to say the objects moving left are canceled out by the objects moving right. That's the recoiling gun undoing the damage of the bullet wound. That's exactly what you're saying. The momentum is gone. It was there, and now it's gone. It's disappeared. What else are you saying besides that? All right. It's also worth you're such a pompous piece of shit. It's also worth noting that this is an example of how both KE and momentum are conserved because you did something that didn't happen. All right. Claiming something that doesn't happen can make your science work, but that's just lying. So it's just like Feynman and the rest of them. They draw the squiggly line, say, oh, it's a wave, it's a particle, who cares? We're not paying any attention. I mean, it's a very specific pattern created. Let's just pretend we won't pay attention to the specific patterns. We'll just draw squiggly lines and say, see, it's a squiggly line. Momentum's always a vector, and we always can subtract. No, you can't. There's no evidence that it works. Can you understand that sentence? You have no physical evidence that what you are saying actually can happen with a Newton's cradle. That you can put 150 in this side and 50 in this side and get just 100 out. There's no physical evidence of that happening. All right, momentum is conserved even though the masses are different. You often say that it's impossible due to the square term. Yes, it is impossible. It's just a fantasy of yours that there's such a thing as unmomentum or anti-momentum. There's no such thing as unmomentum or anti-momentum. You can't undo motion in the universe. All motion is real motion. All of it has to be accounted for. None of it can disappear. Okay. The momentum is conserved. I just keep saying the same shit over and over again. 100 times 1 plus 0 plus 3 minus 50. I mean, you're just doing the same thing. 150 minus 150 minus 50. So you're just doing the same thing you did there. There's no point in redoing it. The K is also conserved. So just absolute bullshit. Do you see how it is possible for both momentum and K to be conserved even though the masses are different? Of course I do not, because you have absolutely no physical evidence of it ever happening. You have no proof. You have no physical, you don't have any physical actual evidence that it's possible. Okay, we don't have to pick between conservation of momentum and conservation of energy, unless you want to be obedient to the truth and the facts. So unless you want to just ignore all the experiments and pretend, yeah, you can get away with it. But that's all you're doing, you're pretending. They are both real and not at all incompatible with each other. So what a steaming pile of shit. So I'm deleting it, okay? You can try again, but that's just crap. That's just you saying so. You can't show me a single piece of evidence demonstrating it to be true. So just show me one example of a Newton's cradle where 50 comes in here and 50 comes in here and it just stops. Nothing happens. Nothing out. 0. 50 minus 50, 0. Show me that. You piece of shit. Goddamn crappy shit. All right. All right, I think that's all. Let's see. I'll go looking, see if there's anything else. But that's all I wanted to do the video. I just can't believe that I make a video, I make these solid points, and he just ignores every single one of them and just keeps yammering about some sort of, it was there and you just subtracted and it's not a problem. It happens all the time. No, it doesn't happen ever. Ever. It never has happened in the history of Newton's cradles. It never happens. Alright, so it looks like we have a new comment here. I just saw logical empiricist. So this will be just more lies and slander. So this is posted on physicist Michael's video. And he doesn't feel any obligation to clean up these lies. Anyway, Gary will not pay the money. So I haven't promised to pay any money yet, but clearly he can get paid in advance. I will pay him in advance. You know, it's on him then, right? I mean, we make a simple contract. You're going to play a 5-minute video and explain how it's in error somehow, right? That's not very complicated. Is that part complicated? Not complicated. So it's a public contract. I mean, obviously, I will pay him, and obviously he can choose not to do it, and then I can just point out how he's a thief. Okay, besides being a bum. But there's no evidence I haven't paid my debt. So again, just absolute bullshit. Okay, he has promised to you and others. So there's absolutely no evidence I haven't been willing to pay in advance. None whatsoever. I even said it in the videos to Veritasium and others. So, you know, there's no issue here. I'll pay the money in advance. Okay, he quickly moves the goalpost. Where did I move the goalpost? The videos are 5-minute videos are still there. What goalpost has been moved? So you can never get the sum he has promised. So where the hell did this happen? These are all just lies. Never get? What is this? Where is this? I mean, the page on the website is basically just outlining, you know, the simple form. I mean, obviously we're going to have some sort of more formal contract. But I mean, it's a simple agreement. Why should this be complicated? I'm saying it should be all public. You know, I don't even mind it, the handshake be public. We can have a public video to make the agreement. There's no way you can reasonably doubt my willingness to pay. It's just an absolutely silly accusation. You have nothing to back it up with. You slandering, lying piece of shit. So anyway, he is like a creationist in that way. So what does it have to do with it? And again, who's moving goalposts? Oh, it seems you people are. You just make them up. You make up the goalposts that Newton's cradles, somehow don't have to conserve momentum. You just made it up. Now, the physicist Michael is too much of a lame coward to sit there and point out to you that, yes, he knows as a physicist that, no, you have to conserve momentum in Newton's cradle. The net momentum has to be conserved. You can't do this subtraction crap. Okay, subtracting what goes here and what goes there. You don't do any of that nonsense. Left doesn't subtract from right. They add. Alright, so I think that's it for that video. So I'll go check the other piece of shit video. See if there's any new comments. Alright, so we're here on the Leska video. So I'll let you know, Leska, I'm not going to respond to anything anymore. I'm not going to watch your videos unless you delete this comment. Okay? It's just crap. If you people can't have enough integrity to say, no, you're not going to allow doxing in your comment section. You're going to block people who participate in this activity. My personal life is not your business. You don't own my name. You don't own my address. You don't know my location. My life is my life. You don't have a right to it. Okay? And it's just so overtly rude for people to play this game. Again, I've pointed out, I don't live in my house. Okay? Other people are going to be affected by your destruction of my personal security. You're attacking other people to extort me. It's just you're just a terrorist, and that's all. You're a jihadist. You're just showing that you are the ones, okay, who can't apply any kind of discipline to your rhetoric. Because this isn't valid rhetoric. I don't publish under my legal name. It's a fact. It has no relevance to these conversations about physics. All right, cannot get the first F in through his skull. Okay, that wasn't a very good sentence. Okay, as I predicted, you predicted something somewhere in the science of psychology. So this is a lunatic. I didn't know he's a lunatic. 4 years ago, the man is never going to stop until his grave. Why should I stop? I have been an advocate for good and right my entire life, and I will continue to do so until I am dead. That's exactly how you live a full and rich and decent existence, is that you have principles and ideals, and you live by them for your whole life. He has everything on this card now. Whatever this is, he has everything on this card now. And stopping would mean losing the battle. So again, what does this even mean? Why should I stop doing what is logically seen as necessary? Again, you haven't counter-argued anything. I've put it in 5-minute videos and you can't refute any of them. And here you are talking this bold talk like I should stop something. Too ridiculous. Only death is going to stop in Mendham. Well, I mean, this is a physics conversation. The channel is DraftScience. I don't know why you can't stay on the subject. Why do you have to keep doing this distraction and moving of goalposts, moving of the subject? Why do you have to keep changing it to my personal life or, my other channels that are on other subjects? Why is the other subject somehow interesting here? Oh, it's just so disgusting. All right. That's probably all there is. But I mean, just the fact that this fucking piece of garbage had to sit there and, again, people don't understand that there's malicious lunatics on the internet, and that anybody who's arguing against the mob has to fear for their life. They don't really understand that's how it works, because you people really are crazy. You people who are part of the group, okay, the establishment, you're a threat. It's just a fact. You have, it's like the cops or something. There's way too many of them, okay, who don't care about ethics and rules and all that kind of crap, and they will just fuck you for their entertainment. And there's way too many members of your little club that play by those rules. I haven't seen any flat earthers, attacking these people in any personal way. Somebody have video of that? All right, anyway. Analyzing initial speeds. Okay, we already did that. And we already did that. Okay. So anyway, just fair notice that to people, you have to take a stand on doxing, either for it or against it. You either understand why it's at minimum obnoxiously rude and always irrelevant. I mean, it's just a tactic to intimidate. It's a tactic to impose harm on another person, and that's all it's for. It's not for any other purpose. There's no purpose in using my personal information except to attack my security. It has no other purpose. So just recognize that truth. And if you can't, you're really a fucking imbecile. If you can't take a stand, then yes, I can't do anything but hope you get what you deserve. That maybe in the future something happens where you're a minority or you're the outsider, and all of a sudden people aren't caring about your rights anymore. All right, fucking bastards. So I think that's all. I'll take a pause and see if there's anything else. All right, looks like that'll do for this video. So, no, there's nothing to say, right? Is there anything to respect or admire about the way these people behave? No. So, simple answer. it's just deplorable that they can't. They're supposed to have all the evidence on their side. They're supposed to have these decisive arguments. They're supposed to be completely, bulletproof, whatever you want to call it, immune to, any kind of, even the implication of a wrongdoing, or that they made an error, or they made a mistake. And yet this desperate kind of behavior. This is the best they can do to counter my arguments, is to fuck around, okay, with fake accusations. That's it. That's all they got. Anyway, till the next time and such.